Hello friends, welcome to my channel and welcome to Dev with Excel. Alright, so in this video we shall be solving exercise 3.18. In the previous video we solved exercise 3.17 and we saw how we could update an entry, right? We could update an entry's number, right, based on the ID of the entry, right? And we are able to integrate that with the front end and the back end all together. That means that with either the front end or just using the back end, we could perform the entire CRUD operations. All right, so in this video, we are solving exercise 3.18, which is a step 6 of the PhoneBook database. Here it says, update the handling of the API/person/ID and info routes to use the database and verify that they work directly with the browser, Postman, or VS Code REST client. All right, so we are expected to get something like this as our output. So in this case, we are expected to use a browser, Postman, or VS Code REST client, but we've been using a Thunder client, right, which still serves us just as this also would have served us. All right, so let's begin with this endpoint, right? So what this means is that when the API here /person/ the ID of the entry, which is this as the parameter, when this is being placed in, we get the name, number, and the ID of that entry. So let's handle this logic first. All right, so going into the VS Code, I'll just simply close everything here, and then um, let me stop this server from running. All right, so this is the step 6, I believe. Yes, step 6, that's 3.18. Okay. All right, so currently this is a setup folder that I've created for this exercise. As we can see, is the step 6, right? So this is just a duplicate of what we did in the previous exercise, right? So as this is just step 5 right now. So we want to edit what we have here to match the exercises we have for this exercise 3.18, which is the step 6 of this database. All right, so we are currently in this folder, right? So we don't need to cd into this part anymore because we are currently there. So what we can do is we simply just do npm run, right? And then let's ensure that our CRUD operations, they still work well. Let's test a few of them. So let's test the get. Let's see if the get still works well. All right, get works fine. I think since get works fine, the rest of them should work. Okay, so let's create a post and see if post is going to work. Let's remove Nkechi. Let's put Sharon with the number 08-498. Let's hit send. All right, so we have this added, so we can even see through the log here. Let's remove this. So here we can see through the log here that there was a post request with this entry, right? Okay, awesome. So using our get, let's confirm that we have a new entry. So as we can see, we have Sharon as a new entry here. All right, awesome. So what we want to do here now is we need to go into this folder and then let's see what we have in the index.js file. Awesome. Okay, now what we want to do is we want to implement our code in such a way that when we use a get, when we do a get operation, we only get an individual entry based on their ID, right? We are not expected to get every entry in that database, right? So that's exactly what we want to do here. All right, okay, so you can just simply go underneath this put here, and by the way, I need to describe what each of these endpoints do, right? So this is getting all persons. Let me just copy this, and then here is a post request, right? So here we could just say creating a new person. or a new entry, right? So yeah, we understand that the entry we have here is related to person, right? So we can say creating a new person or a new person entry. Awesome. Getting all persons entry. So let's go to delete now here, and then let's say, let's paste this, and then let's say deleting deleting a single person, right? So here we want to delete a single person based on their ID, right? And then here updating, let's copy this. Let's come here and say updating a single person or a single person's entry, right? So here we could also just say deleting a single person's entry, and also creating a new person's entry. All right, so let's check the last one, getting all person's entry. Okay, let's put the apostrophe here. Okay, all right, awesome. So what we want to do now is we want to work on an individual entry, right? Let's say we can get just an individual entry. So as we can see here, the get we have here is for the entire entries we have in the database. So let's work for just a single entry now. So what we can do here is we simply use the app also. We say app.get, then putting the endpoint, we say /API/persons, then slash, we put the colon ID, right? So this is going to help us to specify a single entry. Then we say rec res, then next for the error handling, right? Awesome. So we come here and then we go to the next line. Now what we need to do is we could just say request.params. Here we are trying to target the ID of the entry, right? Then we can say .id, and then we assign this to a variable name called ID, right? So we can do this, or we could just destructure, right? So both work well, both work the same way, right? Okay, so the next thing we want to do is so let us not forget that this rec here is represent the request, right? That's a request from the user end, that's from the front end, right? Okay, all right. So the next thing we want to do is using the person's object, right? Sorry, person, we say find by ID, because we are trying to target the ID, right? And then we say dot then, because this should return a promise, we say dot then passing the parameter person, and then doing something like this, right? So here also we could just use the if statement, just as we actually used here. Just use the if statement here, and then we can just copy what we have here. So let's just copy what we have here from the if, and then we just paste it here, right? So here what we want to do is we are going to change this updated person, right, to the parameter we have here. So we copy this person, change it to update, we edit updated person here to person, and then we say response.status 404.end, and then handling the error, we use the catch. All right, so let's save this. Hope this works well. I think something is wrong with this code. Something is wrong with this code. Okay, I think we're having some issues. I kind of knew that doing this copy and paste was going to affect us in a way. Okay, so let's see where the issue is from. So dot then person, okay, if person catch. Okay, I think this is the part we're having the issue. I think we need to remove this. So let's save this. All right, so everything is fine now. All right, so we are still having some issues here. Okay, not an issue. All right, now let's go to our Thunder client again, and then here using the get request, we could just duplicate what we have. Let's duplicate this request here, right? And then let's edit this to get single entry, right? So let's hit on enter. All right, so we go to this part here, and then we have this for single entry. Okay, now let's click on get for the total entries we have here. Let's hit send. Now let's try to target just Sharon. Let's see if we can get just the Sharon entry by using the ID. So we copy this ID and we come to get single entry. We pass the ID here and then we hit send. 404 not found. Okay, I think something is wrong. Let's go back to our index.js. Um, Something definitely went wrong. Find by ID. Okay, here find by ID. We are expected to pass in the ID here, right? So having done that, let's go back to get single entry. Hopefully this works, right? Awesome, awesome. Now we have Sharon, right? Okay, so let's try to get team. Let's copy this and then let's come here and then let's paste the ID for team and then let's hit send. We have team. All right, so that should also work for John. You can try that out. All right, so I think that's it, right? Let's be sure that we've been able to implement everything that has been asked. Okay, so we've been able to update the handling of this, right? Okay, and info route. Okay, so we need to also work for info route to use the database. All right, so for this info route, we actually solved something like this earlier, right? In previous exercises, right? Coming to this part here, exercise. Okay, here, so we can see that in exercise 3.12, which is the step 2 of the PhoneBook backend, it says implement a page at the address, this address, right, that looks roughly like this. So we are expecting that the PhoneBook has info for the number of entries we have in the database, which is not static, right? It's dynamic, right? And then we also have to return the date and the month and everything we have here, right? So this is what we want to do. We implemented this also in our previous video as well. Let's check it out. That's step 2 of the backend. Let's check it out. Let's check it out. Step 2 of the backend. Okay, so this is step 2, index.js. Okay, so we have it here, right? So we have it here. So this is what we want to do. Now, this one, we didn't get the data from the database, right? Because we actually have the data already as part of the code here, which were these ones. So here we want to work on how we can get this directly from the database, right? So we are going to be using some of these statements here. All right, so let's just come here and okay, so let's take this away. All right, so coming to index.js here, so we've been able to solve for getting a single entry, right? Now let's see how we can work for the info. So we simply say app.get because it's a get request, right? And then the endpoint is info, not slash API slash person slash ID in this case. So here we also use the request, that's the request, the response, and then the next, right? The next function for error handling. All right, so the next thing we want to do is trying to get the data from the database. We say person, don't forget that this person is an object we created directly from the database here. Here, person equals required dot model slash person. This models contains the schema, right? Contains the person schema. All right, so here we just come here and say person dot right dot find. Then this also is going to return a promise. Then we use then, and then in then we pass in a parameter which we can call persons or entries or person entries. Just anything we can call it, right? So let's call it person entry. So we want to know the total number of person entries we have right, in this database. So we do something like this, and then we want to use res.send, right? So let's just try something. Let's say hello. So after this, we can use the catch to properly handle the error, right? So where can we use that catch? We can use a catch somewhere here. Yes, I guess it's somewhere here. Okay, so we say dots. So we could just copy what we have here and then we paste it here. Let's save this and see. All right, so we have this. Now let's go to the get again. So yeah, we could just create another get request, right? So let's come here. Let's duplicate this. So we have the duplicates here now. It's going to give us copy. All right, so here we could just change or rename it to get info route, right? So hit enter. So let's click on it. So we have that get info route now. So here we are simply just going to remove every other thing here and then type in info. Let's hit enter or send. So we have hello from our code. Here we know we passed in hello here, right? So here we have, sorry, here we have hello. All right, so the next thing we want to do is we don't want to return hello as it were. What we need to return is where is that again? So we want to return something like this. Phone book has info for two people and all of this, right? Now this tool, like I said, is going to be dynamic, not static. All right, so let's see how we can do that. Um, Going back to the index.js, we simply just come here and then we remove all of this and using a backtick because we want to work with the string templates, right? So we use a backtick. We can just say phone book has info for. Now what we need to do is we need to pass in the number of the total entries we have, right? So using the string literal, we could just do something like this and say person or person entry or person entries. You can choose to name this whatever you want to name it, right? Dot length. So this dot length tells us the total number of entries we have in the database, right? People, right? So let's save this. Let's see if this works. So going back to the info route again, let's hit this. So it says phone book has info for three people because in our database we have three entries. So if we make more post requests, we are going to be having more numbers here, right? It's going to be increasing from 3 to 4 to 5 to wherever we stop. Okay, now we want to work on that part that talks about the date, right? So this part here that talks about the date, this part here. All right, so let's see how we can work on that. Um, so coming to this part here, having done this, we could just say, we could just pass in the date in the template string. So we could just say date, then the round bracket. So we are trying to call the date, right? So let's save this and see what we get. Coming back to this info route, let's hit send. All right, so we have PhoneBook has info for three people. Friday, today is Friday, yes, and this is the current time, right? This is 14:00, that's 2 o'clock West African Standard Time. All right, that's awesome. But let's try to make this look more presentable, right? So how do we do that? We could just use this escape character, right? That's slash n. So this slash, it means that this n here is not the letter n we know of, right? But rather is a special character. So we are trying to escape n as a letter, right? Meaning that we are trying to use this not as a letter anymore, but as a new line, right? So when we do slash n, it means anything after this slash n goes to the new line. So let's do something like this. So let's go back to the get info route. Let's hit send. This did not work. What happened? Um, is there anything wrong with the server? There's nothing wrong with the server. There's nothing wrong with the server. Let's remove this again and let's be sure of what's happening. Get info routes. Okay, this is working here. So there's something wrong with that slash n. Let's try it again. Let's allow this to connect. Okay, this is connected now. Let's hit. Okay, awesome. So now we have PhoneBook has info for 3 people, and this is the date Friday, July 05. All right, friends. So I think with this, we've been able to successfully solve exercise 3.18. Yes. So let's be sure. Let's be sure that we've been able to solve everything that is required. Okay, so we've been able to update the handling of this and the info route using our own Thunder client instead of this, and we got entries such as this. All right, friends, if you found this video helpful, please give it a like, subscribe to my channel, and as well share this video among your friends, right? And see you in the next video. Bye.